The amount of books that are surrounding me right now is kind of crazy. Where do I start? All of her other books were in paperback and this one came out in hardback, but I'm still gonna buy it. I love her so much. It was on sale. Free for all. Books are under $10. Throw my money. And now look at all these books that I have. Hello, welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Emily and I read a lot. I have been acquiring books over the last few months. There's been a lot of sales, thrifted some books, and I thought we could do a cumulative book haul of books I've bought recently. I can't believe how many books I've bought recently. I need to not and stop, and that's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna stop swiping the card and we're gonna start reading. I will say I have read some of these books already, so that is perfect because I normally don't want to buy a book until I start reading it or I can't get it from my library, but there's just been a lot of good deals recently. I've found books on Pango Books, thrift stores, thrift sales. Let's get into all of these books because we have a lot to get through. I don't even know how many there are, but we're gonna find out as we go through. Where do I start? We can actually start with this. I got the first 4 books in the Hunger Games and the special editions, and I'm going to be reading these soon. I didn't get the new book that came out, I don't know why I can't remember that name. I always think it's this one. These are 4 books right here. I'm really excited to read. I'm planning on doing a dedicated Hunger Games video, so stay tuned for that. I bought Wild Side. This was a new release in March, and I already read this book, which is great. It doesn't go on to my physical TBR, which I want to keep very low. And after this, it will not be low anymore. But anyways, I love this book. I thought it was really good. I read it in this reading vlog, so you can go watch it for my full thoughts. But I love Elsie Silver. I'm gonna buy all of her books. She's gonna end up covering like a whole row of my bookshelf. Almost at the top of my bookshelf. She's almost completely covering that whole row already. So when the 4th book comes out later this year, I will be buying that as well. It's also nice though because they are on Kindle Unlimited, so if you don't want to buy them, you can read them on your Kindle. But I love having the physical copies of the books. I like a trophy. Another book that I bought that I already read was First Time Caller by B.K. Borson. I really enjoyed this book. It was a lot of fun. The premise was super interesting. It's basically a radio host. He runs this dating advice show and a young teenager calls in about her mom and asking for advice, and it kind of takes off. They bring the mom on the show so they can increase ratings. It goes from there. I thought the premise was super interesting. It's a Sleepless in Seattle inspired love story is what it says, and I have never seen that, but I kind of want to after reading this book. I love this. I would recommend. All right, I then got the paperback of Funny Story. I got the hardback. Oh my gosh. Oh. Okay. I got the hardback last year when it came out, and I was kind of sad because all of my Emily Henry books I had were paperbacks, but this came out earlier this year in paperback. I love this story so much. I want a matching set. She's my favorite author. I will buy multiples of her books, hence my special edition beach read, and I probably will get the special edition People We Meet on Vacation. I love Emily Henry, and I kind of want to do a reread with the paperback because I just love a paperback. They're so floppy and fun. How can you not love a paperback? Oh my gosh, no. This is kind of crinkled. Anyways, where was I? Another book I already read, Out on a Limb by Hannah Bowen Young. I enjoyed this book. It was a cute rom-com. Was it my favorite ever? No. Do I necessarily need to have bought it? No. But it was cute and it was on sale. I'm happy I read it. I just think the covers are really cute and that's okay. I would recommend though. Oh, if you're looking for a different romance read, did enjoy that. I think I gave it 3 stars. Another one I already read, Promise Me Sunshine by Cara Bastone. The covers are it for me with this, and I also really loved her writing. I do have another one of her books that I've had for quite a while that I need to get to, but this was her new release in February, I think. I thought it was cute. Would recommend. Excited to have this on my shelf. A nonfiction read, The Anxious Generation. I listened to the author of this on a podcast with Andrew Huberman, the Huberman Lab podcast. I thought it was really interesting about social media, the internet, and youth today. This was 50 cents, but I am excited to read it. My goal this year is to read 1 nonfiction book every month. I already have my April one that I'm reading, The Creative Act, and I'm actually on hold on Libby for the audiobook for this, so I might audiobook it and read it. I think I'll get it in April, so maybe this literally is April. The audiobook might be ready in May, so maybe this will be my May nonfiction book, or if I finish The Creative Act sooner, because I'm kind of flying through that one, which has been nice. We have 1 pile done, only 3 more to go. Oh, how many books has that been? So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 already? Okay, that's 10 books right there, and we have 3 more piles. Okay, I got Wildfire because it was on sale. I had read this on my Kindle way back in November, and I had Icebreaker, and I also, in this pile somewhere, is Daydream. I'm like, I can try and find. Here we go. Daydream. These were both on sale. I haven't read Daydream, but I read this on my Kindle because it was on Kindle Unlimited. Daydream is not on Kindle Unlimited, so I bought this, and I was like, well, I have Icebreaker, so I might as well get the full set, which I think it's my logic flaw. I don't need to have matching sets, but I enjoy looking at them on my shelf, and I enjoyed this series. I think it's cute. I like her writing, and it's just a fun time. So happy about those. So that's 11, 12. Two other books I have already read, and that is Practice Makes Perfect and Beg, Borrow, or Steal by Sarah Adams. I love the When in Rome series. I think it's so cute. I gave this one 5 stars. I'm obsessed with this book. I had such a good time reading this. I really enjoyed this one as well. Definitely give this series a try if you are into romance and you're looking for a new series to pick up. I love the first book too, When in Rome, and it's the cute quintessential small town romance. I have loved every single one of these books. I really love her writing too. I think I read one of her books a long time ago. I think it was the cheat sheet that I got from my library, but I don't really remember anything about that book. So maybe if I want to read more Sarah Adams, I can give that one a reread. And I think there are other ones in that series too that I could potentially pick up. I'm having such a hard time keeping track. I think we're at 14. The next book is another romance, and that is You with a View by Jessica Joyce. I have seen this book and this author, and I've been wanting to read it, so since it was on sale, it was the perfect time to pick up one of her books so I could read them. I don't think they're on Kindle Unlimited, which is why I haven't really picked one up. Excited to read this one. Two former high school enemies must reunite for a road trip inspired by their grandparents' broken engagement in this electric debut. Oh, it's her debut. I've seen The X-Files, and I want to read that one too. Oh, cute. Okay. I don't want to read too much else. I love going into books blind. If someone recommends me a book that I trust, I'm gonna read it and not read the back. I got Every Summer After and Meet Me at the Lake. I read this one from my library like 2 years ago, and I really enjoyed it. And then I bought Carly Fortune's new release, This Summer Will Be Different. I haven't read Meet Me at the Lake. I'm obsessed with her covers and the way they look. This was one that I wanted to get these while they were on sale for a matching set that I could have, and I haven't read this one yet, so I would probably reread this one too. I do actually want to reread it because I forgot a little bit about what has happened. I lost count. We're gonna just do a big counter at the end, and it'll be counting on the screen too, so you guys will know, but I will not. I then bought on Pango Books Happy Place by Emily Henry because I was gonna do a reread, and then I ended up doing the reread with my paperback, but I am still happy I bought it because I have one of her other hardbacks, and I think Great Big Beautiful Life comes out in hardback. I can have this, and then I have this one in hardback, and I'll get People You Meet on Vacation in hardback, the special edition one. I just have a growing collection of Emily Henry hardbacks, and I could not be happier, honestly. I don't know how many times I have to say that I'm obsessed with Emily Henry because I am. She also has a really cool first name, if I do say so myself. I did get Beartown by Frederick Bachman. I am really excited to read this book. I read A Man Called Ove and really loved it, and I have seen really good things about this. I really enjoyed the way he wrote that book. I'm excited to pick up another one of his. I know this is very well loved. I'm just excited to read his writing again and explore this world. I know this deals with some hard topics. I think I read the trigger warnings, and I don't remember all of them, but I know this is going to be a book that's going to make me cry. I think he's a great author, and I've only read... It's the only book I've read from him, A Man Called Ove. Oh, I was gonna read Anxious People in one of my recent reading vlogs, but ChatGPT didn't pick it for me. That's the one I was gonna read, but I didn't. So yeah, only read one of his books. I really want to get to another one, and this one being on my physical TBR, hopefully get to it soon. Another author that I fell in love with last year, and that is Kristen Hanna, and I have The Great Alone here. I read last year The Woman by her, and then I read The Nightingale, and this was my top book of last year. Number one, I loved this book, and I want to read more of her this year. I think everyone should read this book. It's so good and honestly extremely important. But I got The Great Alone. I've seen some things about this. My friend gave me Firefly Lane, and I have that on my physical TBR over there, but I wanted this because I'd seen good things about it. I know it takes place in Alaska, and I'm curious to read about this too. I just know I'm gonna bawl too. Same with Beartown. I feel like I'm gonna bawl. I'm gonna cry my eyes out. So it says Alaska 1974. The Albrights are a family in crisis. They are alone, living off the grid in a harsh and unforgiving wilderness. I started watching on YouTube with my dad one time, homesteading people. I just thought it was super interesting that people live off the land in these super harsh environments. So I'm excited to read this book. I know this deals with a lot of family, I don't know if trauma is the right word, so that'll be interesting. So there's a 13-year-old girl caught in the riptide of her parents' passionate, stormy relationship. So maybe the parents don't have the best relationship and has little choice but to go along Kuang, daring to hope this new land promises her family a better future. Okay, so obviously the daughter's gonna have some trauma from her parents' relationship. I think the dad's a Vietnam War veteran and they're moving to this super harsh environment. So I'm ready for Kristen Hanna to break my heart. I missed her writing and I want to read one of her books. So I'm not sure if I'll read that one or Firefly Lane first, but I'm excited for both of those. I also got The Poppy War in the big book sale. Nervous for this one. I started a little bit of Yellowface, but I ended up starting another book, which is also in this haul. So yeah, I have these two books by R.F. Kuang. I think I'm gonna read Yellowface first. I already liked her writing from the beginning. It's just I don't think I was in the mood for it, so I want to be in the mood for this when I read it, and I've heard good things, so I'm excited to pick this up. And then I love fantasy, and I feel like the Poppy War series is so praised and so loved. I think this is like one of the 100 Times Magazine 100 greatest fantasy books. So I'm excited to get into this. I know it kind of deals with war. I think it's inspired by kind of the history in China and all the different empires and what that has looked like for people during that time, but it is a fantasy. So I'm excited to see the way the fantasy elements get brought into that. I just feel like I'm gonna love every second of her writing and her books and just want to binge them all. So I'm kind of saving that for when I'm in the mood for something like that. I also have heard this book is extremely devastating, so I also want to be in the mood for that as well. Same with kind of The Great Alone and Beartown. I will pick this up hopefully soon because I've been wanting to read this book for a long time. I talked about Yellowface a little bit, so I'm not going to say too much else. I am excited to read this though because it deals kind of with authors in the publishing industry, and I think we're focused on the antagonist in this one, which I'm excited for. Now, my current read, I am really not that far into it, but I am reading Heavenly Bodies, which is a romantasy, and I feel like it's really interesting. The first 20 or so-ish pages, I was like, what is going on? I'm so confused. It's like one of those fantasies where they're just throwing out names, places, and people and gods. I have no idea what is going on, but I feel like now I know a little bit more, and I'm gonna learn even more as I keep reading, and it's really got me hooked. The chapters are super short. This is the book I put Yellowface down for. I'm having a good time so far, and I'm excited to keep reading it. This one will not be going on my physical TBR, which I love because I'd rather put it on my shelf. It might be one of my next videos is reorganizing my bookshelf, since all these new books are not going to fit where I normally have my TBR books. I want to do some reorganizing as I read more of these books, and that might be one of my videos, reorganizing my bookshelf and an updated book collection tour. So if you're interested in that, let me know. I will definitely do that. All right, another Hannah Bonin Young book, but I haven't read this one. This one was Out on the Woods, and it's the second book in the series. This is, again, what gets me. Oh, I got the first book in the series, and the next book in the series comes out, so I want a complete collection. Oh, the author has other books that I don't have on my shelf. Oh, let me go get those books. I'm aware of this, the psychology behind why we do that, but I am really excited for this, and I really did like her writing, and we met these characters in the first book, so I'm really excited to see their story because it focuses on a couple that's been together for a long time. So I don't know if we're gonna get them getting together, or I think we get them while they're years and years into their relationship, because it's really different from other things I've read. Another book I have is The Ministry of Time. This just came out in paperback, and I saw it when I did a recent Barnes & Noble trip. I have been wanting to read this. I got this from my library, I think last year, and I just didn't end up getting to it when I had the physical copy, and I've heard such wonderful things. I feel like I have a lot of fantasy and romance on my shelf. I'd love to build my fiction collection, especially with books that I'm really excited about. I read a little bit about it. The concept really excites me. It's about either MI6, so London's intelligence department discovers time travel, and then one of their agents is time traveling, but the agent ends up falling in love with someone who is not in their timeline or in their present time. They're in the past or the future, I'm not sure which one, but you kind of have to navigate that. I'm sure there's other threats that come along. This is pretty short, I'll read this. In the near future, a civil servant begins work on a highly confidential project. A government ministry is gathering expats from across history to discover whether time travel is feasible for the human body, but also for the fabric of space-time. She will act as a bridge, living with, assisting with, and monitoring expats. Okay, so the government has placed people in different times to see the effects of that. Okay, I love a story about love, so I'm really excited for this and to get to it hopefully very soon. If you've read this, let me know your thoughts. I'm very curious, but I have heard wonderful things. I then got The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren. I actually have been waiting on Libby for this, so I think I'm gonna read it on my Kindle in a physical copy at the same time if I hopefully read it before my loans expires. But I wanted the physical copy because it was on sale, and I loved her two other books that I read. I read In a Holidays, and then it was a short story that she did with Amazon, and I've been wanting to read one of her normal books. It was either The Unhoneymooners or this. And so since this was on sale and at the store when I saw it, I was like, I'm gonna get this so I can finally read one of these Christina Lauren books, because I've been saying that since December that I want to read one of her regular romance books, not a short story or a holiday romance, but a traditional contemporary romance. I think this is Fake Dating. Anna Green thought she was marrying Liam Weston for access to subsidized family housing while at UCLA. She also thought she'd signed divorce papers once they went their separate ways, degrees in hand. 3 years later, Anna is a starving artist while Liam is heir to the Western Foods conglomerate, but Liam won't see a penny of his $100 million inheritance until he's been happily married for 5 years. Okay, so it's a fake marriage, marriage of convenience. I love that. With pressure mounting from Liam's family to meet his mysterious spouse, he has no choice but to turn to the one person he's afraid to introduce to his 1% parents, his unpolished, not-so-ex-wife. I'm excited. I do want to read The Unhoneymooners by her. I heard someone talking about that and give the summary of that one too. I don't have that with me because I have yet to read this book, and I will not be buying any more books anytime soon. I'll get to that one. I'll probably get to The Paradise Problem first, and then if I like it, I'll get to The Unhoneymooners, which I don't know why I wouldn't like it. Alright, I do have another romance here, and I got this actually in a little free library in my neighborhood. I was just going for a walk one day, and there's a lot of little free libraries in my neighborhood. I can do a route and hit 5 or 6, which is really cool, and I always check them. They don't always have books I want, or they have books that I have, or they have kids books and other things, and I'd rather have someone else have that than me pick that up. But I saw this book. I've seen this online, and I thought it was interesting. I think there's a Christmas one by this author, Alicia Thompson, but this is Love in the Time of Serial Killers. It says one woman is going to have to learn how to give love a chance when she's used to suspecting the worst in this fresh romantic comedy. PhD candidate Phoebe Walsh has always been obsessed with true crime. She's even analyzing the genre in her dissertation if she can manage to finish writing it. It's a hard to find time while she spends the summer in Florida cleaning out her childhood home, dealing with her obnoxiously good-natured younger brother, and grappling with the complications, feelings of mourning a father she hadn't had a relationship with years. It doesn't help that she's low-key convinced that her new neighbor, Sam Dennings, is a serial killer. Okay, I'm excited. This kind of reminds me of Butcher and Blackbird, and I really liked that. That was a really fresh new take on rom-coms, but it's kind of a dark rom-com, so I don't know if this will be dark, kind of like Butcher and Blackbird was, but we will see. Excited for this one. I don't have that many more books to talk about. Only a couple of these books I haven't read yet, so that is good. The next 2 books I have are Heartless Hunter and Rebel Witch. This just came out recently, and then I bought this on Pango Books because I read this on Kindle last year. This wasn't available on Kindle, so I bought it, and I'm like, again, wanted the complete set. This was like $3 or $4. Why not get it? Anyways, amazing duology, super fast paced. It's a romantasy, and we are focusing on Rune, who is a witch who lives in a kingdom that executes witches. Gideon is a witch hunter who puts the witches in prison to be executed. Those are our 2 main characters. They end up in this kind of relationship, friendship that starts because they're playing off of each other and trying to get information from each other for their own agendas. Rune also is posing as a socialite. It's kind of set in this Regency era London, New Republic kingdom. I love the setting. It was so good. I feel like sometimes, especially in romance books, settings can be overlooked, but in a fantasy, I always love when there's a good setting. I feel like fantasy, if it's not a good setting, I'm not really gonna enjoy it. And I really enjoyed this setting. I did like the first one better than the second one, but the second one was such a page turner. I feel like the second one, it was kind of easy to predict what would happen. I did have a jaw drop moment in the first one at the very end because I was shook. I did not see that one coming, although I feel like people definitely can see it coming, but I just nope, did not see it coming at all. In Rebel Witch, there was a couple things that got me, but most of it, I was able to be like, oh, this is definitely what happens. There were a couple things, though, that did surprise me, and I really loved how this wrapped up. Complete duology on my shelf. It was just such a fun time. It's so fast-paced, and I will definitely reread it one day. If I buy a book and I keep it on my shelf, I will be rereading it because I'm not just buying a book and gonna let it sit here forever. I want to use it. Next book, I have Say You Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. All of her other books were in paperback, and this one came out in hardback, but I'm still gonna buy it because it's my queen. I want to support my queen, my fellow Minnesotan queen. But I already did read this and finish it, and it came out this last week, so proud of myself for that one. I love Abby Jimenez. At the beginning of this book, 5-star feelings. I don't know when this book haul is coming out, but Say You Remember Me will definitely be in one of my recent reading vlogs, so feel free to check that out for my complete thoughts and opinions. But I'm gonna say, if you've read Abby Jimenez, if you haven't, read this. I love all of her books, so you really can't go wrong with any of them. I feel like this one is a good one to start with because it's the first in one of her new series. Would recommend, and I'm very happy I read this and have this book. I love her so much. Another book that I have already read, and that was my March nonfiction book, and that is The Let Them Theory. I really enjoyed this book. I had a lot of fun reading it and learning. I'm really happy I'm reading nonfiction again. I didn't really read that much nonfiction last year, and before I started reading fiction again, really 2-ish years ago, I only read nonfiction. That's all I would read. Hence my little nonfiction shelf here. I'm so happy I got this book. I'm so happy I read it. Probably seen this. I feel like Mel Robbins has been popping off recently, but if you haven't, this is a great book about reframing your mindset around what you can control and letting go of things that you truly are not in control of. It was a good time. It was really interesting to learn about. I feel like Mel Robbins is really good at taking things that some self-help gurus or, you know, people in the health and wellness space overcomplicate, but she really breaks it down simply, so it's really easy for people to understand. Love this book. I don't read nonfiction, but I would absolutely recommend this. And since I read it already, it can already go on my shelf, and it like fits perfectly right there. Yay! The next book is The Sword Catcher by Cassandra Clare. I haven't read a Cassandra Clare book probably since middle school. When these books came out, I saw someone, I think Emmy, read The Rag Picker King, and she was talking about this series, and so I picked it up. Again, it was on sale. So I'm like, free for all! Books are under $10! Throw my money! And now look at all these books that I have. They really got me. But anyways, I remember loving her books when I was in middle school, and this is her first adult fantasy. I feel like I've kind of outgrown YA fantasy and YA romance, and I'm really focusing on adult romance, adult fantasy, adult romantasy, adult fiction. So I'm excited to read this new book from her. I actually read the prologue, but I just couldn't get into it. It was a really long prologue. I was wanting something faster paced, so I put this down, but I am really, really excited to read this. I remember loving her books again when I was in middle school. And I do want to reread them at some point, The Mortal Instruments and The City of Bones, that whole series, but picking up her new release before I do a reread, just because I've read those books before. I want to read her adult ones, and again, like I said, her previous series is a YA series, and this one is an adult, and I've kind of leaned more towards adult in recent years. Not to say I will never read a YA book again, because I definitely will. And George R.R. Martin has a quote, even though I've never read his books, but I do love Game of Thrones show. Everything I look for in a fantasy. So I think this is more traditional fantasy. I don't think this is romantasy technically. I'm sure there's a romance subplot in here. Basically, it's about the sword catcher, hence the name. I think he's a double for the prince of this kingdom. That's about all I know. I like going into books blind. Like I've said, if someone that I trust recommends me a book, I'll probably pick it up and read it. So excited to have this on my shelf to pick it up when I'm in the mood for it. All right, those are all the books I have. I'm gonna count them now. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31 books. That's a lot. Now I want to see how many I've already read, because I know that'll be less. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I only added 18 books to my physical TBR. Oh, and I guess I'm reading this one now too. So 17. Not too bad. I mean, that is a lot of books. But considering I read on average around 10 books a month, not too bad. Not too bad. But I will not be buying any books soon. I don't like the word book buying ban, but I definitely will be more conscious of the books that I buy. Again, trying to read these ones the most, and only buying a book, I am adding it to my shelf right away, and one that I really want on there. So if you have read any of these books, whether I have read them yet or I haven't, I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions. If you enjoyed this, I would greatly appreciate it if you could subscribe. It would really help me out, and feel free to like this video if you maybe want more book hauls. Again, not sure when I'll be doing one again, if ever, because I don't know if I'll buy this many books within that short period of time. It was just, oh, there were so many good sales and good deals recently that I couldn't help myself. But anyways, again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!